Welcome to Belong, Become, Be Sent. This is your host, Patrick Taylor. I am joined here today with the Rio Grande Minister, Josh Beck, as well as one of our own ROC students and future ROC leader, Mr. Isaac Blank. So today we've got Isaac in here. He's going to kind of be our interviewer person. We're going to ask him a couple questions about how college is going, kind of what he's going into, and what his field of view of college and going to ROC things and stuff like that. And Josh is going to help out doing that as well. So let's go on, kick it off. And Isaac, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to Rio?
How I got to Rio, pretty much how I ended up at Rio is they had the program that I wanted, and I got the Jake Bapp Scholarship. Hi, I beat you to it, by the way.
Hey, I was going to get it in there eventually.
Yeah, but I beat you to it. But anyway, so I ended up at Rio in the Industrial Automation and Maintenance degree, which is a 2-year degree. So my scholarship completely covers it, and it'll be pretty much what I'm going into is machine maintenance and robotic maintenance.
Very cool. I don't know a whole lot about that. I have been hearing a little bits and pieces from Isaac himself. So for those who do not know, because I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who don't know exactly what that is, what all does that kind of entail? Some highlights of that program here at Rio. Isaac?
Let's see. We've got to play with the panels and boards that you would play with in the actual industry. And I think the ones back there in the lab are like $14,000 or $15,000 worth of equipment on them.
Whew, that's quite expensive.
Yeah, and we get to wire them up and hopefully not break them.
Yeah, that would not be a good thing if you broke those things, would they?
Yeah, that'd be a bad day.
Well, we've got a couple questions here. We've got some things that, mind you, this was made a little bit last minute due to some technical difficulties with the internet here at Rio, at least for me. So we're kind of we've got it organized. We'll say that we've got it organized. So Isaac, coming from high school, because you went to the same high school I did and graduated from the same place just a year after I did. So you were up there with me, and you kind of understand kind of the transformation at this point. So what are some things that you think is a really good transition from high school, private school to transferring here to the public community college here at Rio? What are some things that you really like about coming here instead of maybe some other places?
Even though my schedule's like really like airtight, it's nice that I could kind of like you can kind of pick your own schedule. So it's like even though I'm here from 9 to 3:20, I know you're here from what, like 8
I'm
to
here
11?
from 8:30, 9 o'clock all the way until almost 6 o'clock on Mondays.
Well, that's your own fault.
Well, we have things to do. You know, we here on Mondays. You guys are seeing this on Friday. We actually come in here and record these on Mondays. We are going to be recording some more coming up, just for future insights, which I will let you all know by the end of the video. So, Josh, we're going to kind of switch things over a little bit. We're going to go back and forth like we normally do, asking everybody in here. Josh, what are some scheduling things that you have found that make it a little bit easier here at Rio, making it worthwhile, I guess, or makes it a little bit better here at Rio versus OU with being the ROC minister?
Yeah, so one of the big things that I've noticed, the big difference is majority of the students here don't have class on Fridays, and so that opens up an extra day for us to be able to do either activities if we want to go out and do something together, or if we want to plan, like for instance, like they're doing leadership training on Fridays in the evenings and stuff, because that's one of the days that they have available to them, because they don't have to worry as much about, you know, keeping up with schoolwork. Or I know for you really don't ever really have much of homework at all, but so that is just one of the really nice things that I found, and kind of working around that schedule too, it allows me to be more flexible, because with your guys' hours and stuff, it's a lot, I wouldn't say it's really set up too much differently from OU, but it's definitely different in the aspect of like, this is kind of like, I believe from what I've heard anyways, is that the first 2 years is like community college.
Yeah, so for most part, especially with the nursing program, which is I'm kind of familiar of. I'm going into healthcare administration, so I've take some nursing classes here and there for the degree. But mostly they try to give you to do your generals first. That way you can do your on-hands training towards the end of it. That way you go right from class out to the field of work, whichever it may be. Here at RIO, you get the kind of the luxury, I guess. You're able to kind of take whatever class you want by the end of your, the semesters that you are graduating at, and you complete all of the classes that you need for your degree. They kind of let you pick and choose which ones you want each semester. They do have it in sight that you can just pick from that catalog or that book of classes for that degree and go through that order, which makes it really nice for someone who doesn't understand the way that the system works and whatnot. So it makes it a little bit easier for newcomers to come on. So kind of basing off that, Isaac, what is something that you noticed that made it either easier or maybe even hard coming into the college, trying to pick your classes and choose which ones that you needed and which ones you wanted? What were something that kind of stuck out to you during that process?
See, mine was different because all my major classes start first.
Oh, okay.
So, and I have two professors. I have Keith Saunders and George Clonch here on campus, and they're only there X time through Y time, and that's it. So, like right now, I can guarantee, and that's after 4 o'clock, George isn't there. Keith's not there. Keith's at home. So neither of them are there, so none of their students have class right now, unless they took something else. So all of my classes are pretty much set in stone. When they're there, whether you are or not, pretty much.
Yeah, that does. I mean, that's right. I mean, every faculty member has their own kind of hours that they work on. I know at OU it's a whole lot different versus here. Now, I haven't been at OU. I just heard the stories, I guess. I wouldn't say horror stories because I'm not too familiar with it. But I have heard stories about, what the OU bases off of, what kind of goes on, what things that happen here or there. Josh, kind of just to comparison, now we're not going to get into the details just because of the time. But what are some things that you notice that are drastically different from a small town community college that is a university all the way up into the other college at OU, dealing with ROC versus ROC up there versus ROC down here? Now, for those of you that don't know, ROC has been at OU for many, many years, way longer than RIO has. RIO was actually formed in the late 2019 year, early 2020 year, right when COVID hit. So it was the struggles getting it started, but it has improved drastically since we've been here, and Isaac has been here since pretty much day one, even when he was in high school. So he's got the most time. He's got more time in this than I do. So we call him the older member in this group, at least in the three of us that are here. He's the elders of the three here that are recording today. So Josh, back to the question was, what is something that was drastically different compared from RIO, the small town, up all the way up to OU?
I would probably just say mostly class schedules, because again, like how everything lines up with like what your guys' class schedule, you guys can really like fluctuate and choose kind of your times and stuff like that, versus with OU, like they're a little bit probably more strict on their times, I would imagine. And that's just from what I've seen from a lot of the students and stuff that have came into the Rock House, and from what I've heard from them. And also, like, when I was the intern and stuff like that, like I had to set up leadership training and like figure out all their times and stuff like that. And like some of them, like some of the students have classes until probably like almost 8 p.m. because their lab and stuff goes on that long. And so like in some sense it's kind of similar, and then there's that's kind of like drastically different. And then obviously, like I mentioned before, they have classes on Fridays, versus with you guys you rarely ever have that to deal with. And as far as like class work goes too, like usually they're taking like basic courses first versus actually taking their proper degree courses like first time doing that. And so that's just kind of like the few things that I've seen difference between the two. But obviously it's just every school is going to be different no matter where you go. Not every school is going to have the same exact layout as another one is going to. So
Yeah, and that's exactly right. There's a lot of people who, different colleges, they still deal with their own schedule. At least I know at Rio, they are able to kind of fluctuate with your schedule a little bit easier due to having more teachers for the program. So the nursing has multiple different teachers, professors that come in and teach. So you may not learn this today, but something else just because of scheduling, which happens in everyday life too. So with the scheduling, we're going to kind of jump into another segment here with the time management skills when you're a college student. Because this podcast is directed towards college students, so we're going to try our best to help everyone out in this scene here, and we're going to talk about time management. So before we get started and put my piece on there, Isaac, what is something that is very time management skilled that you have learned to have to kind of deal with, either versus as a bad thing or a good thing? What's something that you definitely piques your mind whenever you think of time management in college, Isaac?
It's kind of tough because I haven't had, like Josh said earlier, I haven't had nearly like a crazy amount of homework. Like I did my first homework assignment over the weekend, so I haven't had like all that much homework. So it's mostly just when there's a test, just study for it the night or two before, and you're fine.
Everybody at home right now listening to this and watching this is pretty probably upset with you.
I know.
Due to that reason.
Oh, hydraulics is supposed to be one of the hardest courses I take, so there should be quite a bit of homework with it.
Well, that's good. I know that I've got some homework, and let me tell you right now, some of the things that get your mind thinking. Luckily, I've been around it, so it's not too hard for someone who's been around it. But those who's coming into the course or to your degree, it can be challenging, and it could be hard to kind of deal with that, especially with the time management, is because you have to learn how to go to class, make sure you're on time, make sure you study, take your notes, and then after you got to study more in order to pass your test or to go into that career field. As well as trying to make sure you eat, you sleep, you get your shower, you take your right nutritions. If you're a person that exercises and go to the gym, you've got to find time to that. We've been trying to get back into the gym. We're drastically failing at this because sometimes we do have poor time management skills, but we stay busy. I help personally. I help with ROC as well a lot with the podcast, as well as some other things that go on. Josh is bouncing around all week long doing ROC things. He's the Rio Grande minister. He also travels up to OU for their ministry, as well as Bible study and stuff like that. We're going to hopefully start a Bible study at some point, either this semester or next semester. So if those of you who are watching would like to come out and join, please let us know, and we will be happy to work with your schedule at home and try to do it. We may even try to do some podcast Bible studies on here now that we have the Rio Grande studio, which we are very happy and very, very thankful that the University of Rio Grande lets us use for this. So going back into time management, I kind of got on a little rabbit trail there. But going back into time management, one thing that I've noticed, and I'll kick it over to you, Josh, to see what you think about it, is dealing with classes. Coming from high school, you got your block periods or your 8 periods, whatever your high school uses. You've got that, and you have your own schedule, and they make it for you. You hear a bell, you get out of class, you go to the next class, or you go to lunch, or you go home. And then you get into college, you don't have bells. You don't have the luxury of someone telling you when classes starts or ends or whatever like that. It's up to you to know that, and it's up to you to try to figure that out. Luckily, the University of Rio gives you a schedule at the start of the year, so you're able to kind of look at that and say, all right, I've got this class here, this class then. I can eat lunch here, I can eat dinner here, I got to get breakfast, I got to wake up by then or else I'm going to be late. It happens. So, Josh, you went to a mechanics college, correct? So tell us a little bit how the difference is from that, and I'll kind of base it off of what the University of Rio has, and Isaac will kind of help us out with that too. So what's kind of the scheduling and the time management skills you need to know in order going into that kind of college?
So it's actually really funny you asked that, because they were actually a session school versus a semester school. So that is the biggest difference between the college that I went to before dropping out, obviously, because I know you were going to probably bring it up.
I was not. I was not. I was going to say.
I'll bring it up myself. Yes, I am
Okay.
a college dropout, but I still ended up here, and I would not regret it.
We're happy you're here.
Yeah, so I would not regret it for the life of me. But as far as that is the biggest difference. So how they had it set up there was either you would take one of your main courses, and that was the main course you would take over that entire 6-week period. That was the only class that you would focus on. Now, if you had Gen Eds, however, you had 3 classes, and so it was 6-hour blocks. So basically, you had either one 6-hour class, or you had your 3 Gen Eds. So it'd be 2 hours per Gen Ed class, and basically how they would make you pay and everything like that. It rolls in with your 6-week courses, and every 6 weeks you were pretty much choosing the class that you wanted to. They would kind of give you your options, or they would just pick the class for you if you didn't go in and specify, hey, I want to take this class next semester or next session or whatnot. And the other difference too is they actually had very different breaks from what a regular semester school is. So like what you guys would normally have like for Christmas break or Thanksgiving break or summer break, we didn't actually have that. We never had a legit summer break. They would give you maybe I think it was like a 4-week break max, and that would be like your whole month that you just had to yourself. But you never had, this long 3 months of, okay, I don't have any classes, I can work, I can do this, and usually the classes were all crammed together. So you had to get your class out first before you could go work. So that's just kind of the differences between like a session school versus a semester school. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of a really big difference too, if you think about it. I mean, it may not seem like it whenever you're looking at the scheduling and the way that works, but it is a big difference, and you don't get breaks like we do at the University of Rio. And you do get your Christmas break, you get your Thanksgiving break. We're fortunate enough that I'm pretty excited as we get the first day of hunting season off for Ohio. So I am personally very stoked about that, and I cannot wait for that to happen. So I'm excited for that Monday to come, which is, I think it's the Monday after Thanksgiving.
So you guys do have that off?
I'm almost positive. Don't quote me on those of you listening at home, because I don't want to be wrong. But I'm almost positive when I looked at the schedule at the start of the semester, I saw that day was marked off. So I was pretty stoked when I saw that. But another thing we can kind of go into, because we've got some time here to talk about it, is whenever you're transferring from high school, this is both Isaac and I. For those of you that are watching that may still be in high school or doing high school classes or doing college classes online even, some things that kind of came up that I've noticed that whenever you're going from your 11th grade and senior year, I know at our school we had senior seminars. So that kind of prepared us a little bit to kind of going into the college/life world, working jobs and whatnot and stuff like that. One thing that we do encourage you to do is try to get scholarships, because that really does help. Isaac and I both have been very blessed to have the Jake Bapp Scholarship, which those of you watching, and a little bit of a hint of who's going to be on next week on our Belong Become Be Sent podcast. Be excited for that. I'm personally very excited for that to come. But stay tuned and watch for that, because it's going to be a good one. But going into that is learning how to do scholarships, learning how to do the paperwork and trail for your grants, stuff like that. Isaac, I know you and I both have had help to be able to do that. What is something that you found that may have been pretty difficult going into that and learning how to kind of work the trail of that? Why?
I think the hardest part for me when I was filling out my stuff for my scholarship was my essay. That was not fun, especially because the deadline snuck up on me. So I was writing the essay 3 days before the scholarship was due.
Oh, you got me beat. I wrote it a week before.
Yeah, I was upset. But I didn't know when the scholarship was due, and I actually originally wasn't going to come to Rio.
That's right.
Yeah, I was going to go to a different school in Huntington, but I ended up filling out the scholarship, getting it turned in on time, And then I ended up getting the scholarship, so I'm like, I probably ought to go out to RIO.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know at home, we both graduated from Ohio Valley Christian School in Gallipolis. And funny enough, it's kind of ironic. One of my good friends, she's been friends with the family forever. She has a lot of help in ways in my life. She helped me kind of get to this position that I am in now. She actually got the Jake Bapp Scholarship too. And she graduated from OVCS, Ohio Valley Christian School. So we have 3 Ohio Valley Christian School people who got the Jake Bapp Scholarship and both went to RIO full time, and both, hopefully, all 3 of us will graduate. One has already graduated, obviously. She's in a teaching career, and she's got a little baby now, and he's so cute. But we're going along that path, and it's pretty cool to see that there's other people come into your classroom. You have people that are wanting the career, wanting the education, and you have people who come in who are there to play sports. You've got all different kinds of backgrounds, all different kinds of learning, education. You may take one class that has, 15 different career paths, and you never know it. But one cool thing about getting the scholarship, at least for us, is that it's very a high honor to have that. I mean, he'll tell you the story whenever he's on, for those of you watching, but you'll hear it, and it's pretty cool to hear it from him, and say that scholarship's still here, because a lot of people get a scholarship in someone's name and that person's no longer here. So it's pretty cool for us to have that. It's also a education scholarship, so you are here based on your education and your information on that. So it's pretty cool. What is something that kind of stuck out to you getting that? What was pretty exciting getting a scholarship of pretty much a full ride to RIO, Isaac?
I think the biggest thing when I opened it is I had just gotten back from Florida, and it was sitting there on the steps waiting for me. So I'm like digging through the mail, like, anything good while we're gone? That's a letter from RIO. I probably got to go open that. So I take it up and I open it. I'm like, they sent this to the wrong person. There has to be another guy named Isaac who's applied for this, because there's no way that essay was good enough. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't remember what I wrote. I didn't remember what I wrote for it then either. Yes, you can laugh at me because I was fully not expecting to get it at all. So seeing that was like, okay, that's interesting. So that kind of struck me as kind of wild when I found it.
It's really cool to get that too, isn't it?
It's a cool feeling.
Yeah, I know, at least for me, I remember, like you said, you came home from Florida and it was sitting on your steps. I had come home from something, and I think from doing some farm work, and I came home, and my aunt, Star, she handed me the letter and said, it's from RIO, you probably should open it, it's got your name on it. And I opened it up, and I read, and it says, congratulations. I just pretty much froze, because I've come from a background that doesn't really pursue education. I was never, before high school, I was never really pushed to, go learn, pass grades, graduate. I never came from that. I never thought I would ever be going to college, let alone graduate from high school. So it was pretty cool to get that. And it was like, I just remember I was just frozen in place. I was like, I'm shocked that I have this, but I'm so honored and blessed to get it as well, because this gives me like a really cool opportunity to go to college that, I may not have been here, because I was originally going to a different college too, just like you said. And I got that letter, and I'm like, I'm going. I mean, it's there. I've got to go now. So coming from that and getting your scholarship, what are some other things that may have stuck out to you with ROC? And what are some things that you've noticed that ROC has been doing good in the RIO community as well as abroad and on our mission trips? What is something that kind of sticks out to you that you notice that you're really happy to be a part of, Isaac?
So, like you said earlier, I am part of like the original like RIO people. I think when it started, it was me, Brent, Noel, and Dodger.
Yeah, we can't forget Dodger. He's the one that's in charge of this place.
Yeah, he's the one running the whole shooting match. So, but what I've seen change is we started out in the student center over here, just over the way here, and just sitting there. And, every now and then we'd have people that'd come up and, sit down or something. And that was kind of cool, but then we ended up getting our own room. So we had, like, the actual place to say, hey, we're meeting at this place at this time. So if you actually want to come, because I think people were kind of avoiding the student center at that time when we were doing it. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, there's people in there and they're singing and one guy's preaching and all that. It's just like, I don't really want to go in there and bother it. But now we've got our own room. But it was kind of nice because we had people that would show up sometimes. So I think it's nice that you're coming out on campus more and actually being out here instead of just not being here except for on a crosswalk, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Not having the ability or the outreach of a ROC member come out and to just be there. And there was, I can't think for the life of me who was saying it, but I was listening to somebody talk, and they said sometimes just the presence matter. And it's very important for you to just, hey, we're here. And that's for any ROC member. We're here on campus pretty much every day throughout the week. We all have ROC shirts now. Curtis, thank you to my Aunt Star, as well as the t-shirt company who's made them for us. So we all have ROC shirts. We try to wear them quite a bit. So if you notice us and you've got a question or whatnot, you've seen us all on the podcast now. So if you've got a question, let us know. You can stop us anytime. It doesn't matter if we're going to a class. We'll exchange numbers and be able to talk later. And we'll invite you out to Crosswalk. And it's really cool to be a part of this organization. We do have a lot of fun, but we also learn a lot, and especially about God and how he works in mysterious ways, how he's blessed us in all of our lives, especially mine as well as the ones that are around me. So it's really cool to be a part of it and to see people grow from coming from high school and going into college, growing with Reach Out on Campus, as well as University of Rio, as well as OU and many other colleges. So we're going to kind of wrap up here. We're going to have the Rio Grand Minister pray for us. So Josh, close us out in a prayer, will you?
Sure, absolutely. Father God, we're just so thankful that we get to be here, to be able to record this podcast, to be able to just have the ability to use this room, to be able to glorify you with it and just answer some questions that maybe college students that are coming in, or maybe that already are college students that just have some questions about, life and just work and schedules and figuring things out, and just how you work in mysterious ways when maybe we don't see it in those moments, maybe when it's a little bit fogged over because we have these busy schedules and we're trying to fit everything in. But we know that you were there, and we know that you are working through all of it. And so we just thank you with that. And we just thank you for ROC, especially for you just giving us the ability to reach out on campus, literally in the name, and just be able to pour into these students' lives so that they can grow in their faith, to know you better, and to be able to walk more like you. Father God, just pray for the rest of this week that whoever's watching, anybody on the podcast, and just everybody around, that they can just have a fulfilled week, that they can just get to know you better, that they can just dive into your word and know that you are God and you are there for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And if you would like to join us here at the Rocket Rio, you're more than welcome to come out. We meet Monday nights at 6:30 in Bob Evans Hall at room 111. If you would like to be along with our podcast, Belong Become Sent, let us know, and we'll get you on here. Those of you who watched our little clip that Dodger and I recorded a couple weeks ago, and noticed that we interviewed Dodger last week, which was pretty amazing, and it turned out really well. We're really happy with what we're doing with our new series. You can now watch that on YouTube from last Friday. And we've got some things coming up. We've got some people that you may know that you have here at the University of Rio or some other places in the local community. Like I said last week, we do have Jake Baps coming on. We're very excited for that. Hopefully everything works out with the system, and we're really happy to interview him. So be looking forward for that for the Friday after this. You guys are watching this on Friday, so you guys have the opportunity to go to the Haunted Trail at the University of Rio, which is going to be pretty exciting, I hear. So I know that me and a couple of my friends are going, and we're really happy to go. But like I said before, like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next crosswalk. Have a good weekend.